Happy Thanksgiving! We're serving up a special edition of the Coach's Cut right now, so grab your pumpkin pie, settle in. The Coach's Cut with Mike Tice starts right now. Hello and welcome to this very special Thanksgiving edition of the Coach's Cut with Mike Tice. I'm Mike Davis. Coach, great to be with you. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy we're celebrating together.
I am happy we're celebrating together. It's a pleasant day and it's a pleasant eat for everybody. And we'll see how the scales tip tomorrow.
Okay. Well, and I just want to say we're grateful for you. I'm thankful for you. So thanks for being with us. It's been a blast this year. But I think a lot of average NFL fans like me at home are curious about the nuances of Thanksgiving Day games, right? So you as a player and a coach, you participated in a few. Talk through us about just how this works. What is it like to play on Thanksgiving?
Well, first of all, with the change in the schedule, that used to be the only Thursday games were the Thanksgiving games. So it was very few teams that did it. Now there's a Thursday game every week.
Right.
So it was a short week, and you really weren't ready for a short week. But then here comes Thanksgiving and you're playing Dallas, or here comes Thanksgiving and teams are playing Detroit, because those were the only two teams that used to play on Thanksgiving. I told a story when I was talking with my son Nate in the interview that people will see coming up. I'll never forget playing on Thanksgiving against the Cowboys in Dallas, and I look up and I'm lining up against Ed Too Tall Jones. Now I'm 6'8", I was 265. I just thought it was a cartoon character. I mean, he was so doggone big and so doggone long. So that was my horror memory of playing on Thanksgiving Day. But there's another side to that, and that's coaching the great Randy Moss. And we went down there on Thanksgiving, and he had one of those 3-touchdown Randy Moss games where it really was a breakout game for him. And those are the better memories.
Hey, I wouldn't want to go up against Too Tall Jones either. So do teams actually cater Thanksgiving food for the teams? Like, how does that work?
Well, what they'll do is if you're on the road, which unless you're Dallas and Detroit, you were on the road, they would have a Thanksgiving dinner for you at the hotel. And so it was always a nice spread. And if you had family in town, the team would invite your family as well.
Oh,
so you were still able to have Thanksgiving with your family. It's just that it was cooked at a hotel, and the NFL teams stay at nice hotels, so it wasn't like you were getting to-go food from McDonald's or anything like that. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but we, it was good and it was different. And but now, like I said, everyone's used to the short week because there's a Thursday game every week. Back then, that was the only short week of the season.
Okay, so you still get a semblance of Thanksgiving, which is a nice thing.
Yeah, it was nice.
All right, guys, next up we have Nate Tice, NFL analyst for Yahoo Sports and the NFL Network, and more importantly, Coach Tice's son. He's going to join us next.
Well, I'm excited for our Thanksgiving special because I have a special guest. 2 weeks in a row, a dad couldn't be more proud to have on the host of Yahoo Sports Football 301 with Nate Tice. Once again, I told you who it is. It's my son, Nathan Jack Tice. Nate, thanks for joining me Thanksgiving week.
I know. This is how we're going to spend it. Talking ball.
Yeah, talking ball.
Ranking some quarterbacks, doing some fun stuff.
Yeah.
But happy Thanksgiving as we were doing this week. Great to see you as always.
Happy Thanksgiving. But before we get into ranking quarterbacks, Nate, talk about your childhood memories. If you remember when Dad, me, had to play on a Thanksgiving Day on the road, not at home, or play or coach on Thanksgiving, and there were a handful of them. I didn't look it up, but I think there were 5 or 6. What do you remember?
At least, at the very least, when you were coaching, at least 3 that I can remember. Mostly against the Cowboys, it felt like. Yeah. Because it was Cowboys and Lions. Even though the Lions were in the division, it was the Cowboys that felt like you guys played on Thanksgiving.
It felt like almost every year. I don't know.
It did, didn't it, for a while? Yeah. The number one that I remember is the 1998 Thanksgiving game where Randy Moss had one of the greatest performances you'll ever see. Right. I think 3 catches for like 100 and something, 180 and 190 yards, 3 touchdowns, drew a PI for 50 yards.
Took a
Those
hitch for like 60 or something like that,
a
right?
hitch that Randall Cunningham wasn't
Maybe
supposed to
longer than that.
throw.
Yeah,
Yeah,
unbelievable.
yeah, and he truly just outruns an angle. So those are my memories. It's more of the players than anything you did. But I think too is as I've gotten older and I've had people make jokes about this where every major facet of my entire life has been football oriented
Right.
or has been related to football, including my Thanksgiving schedule.
Yeah, right.
So and it's but it just even saying it was very normal to me. It was just that's what it was. We
Yeah,
had a game on Thanksgiving. That's what it was,
that's what
and
it
same
was.
with Christmas.
Yeah,
That's what it was. We had
yeah,
games on Christmas Eve and everything. So I think when you're young enough, you don't know any better. And
right.
then I'm still a sicko with my schedule around the NFL season, so it's kind of been very normal. So thank you for making the weird be normal from when I was 7 years old onwards.
Well, here's what I remember. I do remember the Randy Moss game because that was one of the greatest performances in the
Yeah.
history of the National Football League. But I do remember as a player having to play against Ed Too Tall Jones on Thanksgiving. And now that was, I think, the worst Thanksgiving of my life. I did not like that. I was 6'8" and 260 pounds, and he was 7'11" and 300.
Even bigger.
At least he seemed 7'11" anyway. So, but
I didn't know you guys overlapped actually.
no,
That
we
makes sense though. He
overlapped.
played in the 80s. Yeah.
I don't know that
Wow.
it was
Yeah.
an overlap. I think it was more of I got launched a few times. It was like when I had to go
Well,
against Reggie White when I was
oh,
playing tight end, and when they started lining the defensive ends up over the tight ends. I would never forget. We're down inside the 10. It has nothing to do with Thanksgiving, but it has to do with me getting launched. I'll never forget down there inside the 10. They called a run at me, and next thing you know, I made the tackle. I made the tackle because Reggie
got
White
turned
threw me
around.
through the air. I'll never forget that. So anyway, let's
I didn't know Too Tall Jones was the number one pick. Yeah, number one pick versus the UDFA
yeah
converted quarterback tight end.
converted
I
quarter.
know without telling me anything else,
Oh,
I know who I'm betting on.
oh, it was not a good day. I think I had about 30 ice bags on me after the game.
Oh, I'm sure.
So let's talk about your specialty. You're a quarterback guy. You've always been enamored. You played backup quarterback at Wisconsin. I did talk to Paul Chryst, your old coach, the other day. He had a birthday. So let's rank the top four. Let's have some fun here. Let's rank the top four quarterbacks in the NFC. Talk about them a little snippet, and then I think looking at these rankings, I'm the same in most regards, but we differ in one of these NFC quarterbacks. Talk me through your top NFC quarterbacks.
Yeah, I went Matthew Stafford, Jordan Love, Dak Prescott, and Caleb Williams. And it's
Right.
actually fun because usually I just do these top 10. So splitting them by conference was a new way to scratch my brain a little bit.
Yeah.
But Stafford to me is going into the season, he would have been on top of this list for the NFC, but also just how he's played this year. I think he's on the podium at the very least for MVP, at least through, 11 weeks through the season. Just playing, and that's funny because of the concerns before the season with his back. Like he
I
wasn't
know, right?
practicing for weeks, and then he comes out like he's a new man. So who knows what they did in LA? But I really do think he's just playing. I mean, total confidence in that offense. I think the offensive systems, of course, him and McVay are just in tune with each other. But also Devontae Adams' addition has really just taken it to a new level. It's just everything. Traditional sense, play action, doing stuff from under center, but also dropping back, throwing trick shots, throwing stuff down the field. He's doing it all right now. Like the only
Yeah.
thing he can't do is scramble,
Yeah.
but it's fine when you get the ball out like he does.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
The next guy, Jordan Love, is a guy I understand sometimes there's still national discussion about what he is,
Yeah.
but really, I just want to tell everyone he's very good.
Yeah.
I think he actually is a locked in top 8 overall quarterback.
Wow.
The Packers system is it's actually, you would actually be partial to it because they throw for chunks. That is what the system is. And sometimes that can lead to like a 3-point shooting team that gets cold, where those aren't hitting, those deep balls aren't hitting, all that's not hitting. And because he's such a high wire act, it can look bad. But always upon rewatch, you watch Jordan Love and you appreciate him a little more. As far as how smart he is, how he moves in the pocket, he doesn't take sacks while being so aggressive, which is a great combination. And right now, even statistically, a lot of underlying stats, like advanced stats I look at, like so EPA, success rate, those types of stats, he's high up there. I think he's second in EPA per dropback right now, which is significant because they do a lot of the harder things, not a lot of the cheapies. Next up is Dak Prescott, who, as in media, I've appreciated him more than when I was working in the league. because I got to study him a little bit more. One of the smartest players in the NFL, which I still don't think he gets enough credit for. Like, honestly, him and Drew Brees are more alike than people realize as far as their play style, as far as their intelligence, control of the offense. He literally runs the same offense that you ran in Minnesota, which I think is so funny because Scott Linehan was his first offense coordinator. And, quarterbacks, they don't want to change what they like.
Right.
So it's cool to see him take it to the next level year after year. And he's playing good football this year. And then the fourth guy, Caleb Williams, Caleb to me is another guy that I won't say controversial, but I think it's a lot of people, he got built up to be hated.
Right.
Number one pick, USC guy, got really highly touted. So when he had an iffy rookie season, a lot of people are like, yep, he's a bust. But actually how he's playing this year, the comfort him and Ben Johnson have together, it's been really, really cool to watch them work together. And now you see his comfort level really rising. So I think even just statistically, he's like a top 12 quarterback overall. And I think that's going to keep rising this year and beyond.
Yeah, I'd like to see. I'm anxious to see them against Pittsburgh this week. I have one different guy in there. I don't have Jordan Love, and it was interesting to hear you talk on him. But I do have Baker Mayfield, and you could take or leave Baker Mayfield. Just depends upon what flavor ice cream you like. 17 touchdowns, only 3 picks. He's won a lot of games in the last couple of seconds. I got to throw him in there as my fourth. So we have one guy that's different. I agree with you all on all the rest. I don't think a lot of people out there know, and probably nobody, that we tried to draft Dak Prescott when we worked for Jack Del Rio, you and I, with the Raiders, and Todd Downing, who's now the receiver coach with New England, who'll be on in a couple of weeks. But we didn't get him. And so we liked him a long time ago, didn't we? So.
Yes, that was my first introduction to. Actually, a year before, one of the scouts with the Falcons had me watch him, and they were like, "Can you just check this guy out?" Because what I realized afterwards, what they were doing was just to cover their butts. But they were, "Can you check this guy out and see what he was?" And I was like, "He's got a lot more to him," because I thought he was like a Tebow type of player and like how he was used in college. But watching him develop in the pros has been really, really fun.
He's done a great job. He's a good leader too. So let's talk about your top and we're only doing this through 11 weeks. Well, your top offensive rookie in the NFC. I went with Emeka Egbuka, who's kind of been banged up and is kind of tailed off. In fact, I don't even know. He didn't practice on Thursday, I don't believe. But you have an interesting pick, the kid from Arizona. Go ahead and talk about your pick for rookie of the NFC Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, Tetairoa McMillan, not Tet. Do not call him Tet.
Kid, right?
Yeah, Tetairoa McMillan. From Arizona, and now is with the Panthers. Rob Moore is actually his receiver coach, someone we worked with the Raiders. And my high end comparison for McMillan coming out, and this feels like blasphemy to even say this, is Larry Fitzgerald. As far as his play style, as far as his size, he's a big receiver, 6'4", 220-ish, but he's such a smooth mover. Really, he's not a burner, but he creates explosive plays because he can make a guy miss. He can make a guy, like, as soon as he catches the ball, he becomes a runner, even in a big frame. He has a huge catching range. He was a volleyball player and basketball player in high school, and his volleyball highlights are out of this world. And you can see not a lot of big guys sometimes don't play big, and he plays big, but he's not a big stiff. He's just a fluid athlete. And it's not just eye test or anything. Now we're seeing more box score performances out of him. He's also dealing with some iffy quarterback play with Bryce Young, which is something he got used to with iffy quarterback play at Arizona.
Hey, he got player of the week, man. Come on.
Those matter, right? Put it in the rafters. Yeah, hang the banner. I talked about underlying stats again, and receiving stats people have realized too is, usage. Not every offense is the same. So a lot of the denominator for stats has been routes run as opposed to plays or targets or games. And this year, among all receivers, there's 76 receivers this year with 200 more routes run. Tetairoa McMillan ranks 7th in first downs per route. He ranks 15th in successful plays per route, so a play that is an efficient gain. He's 16th in yards per route run, and he's 12th in explosive receptions per route. So he's having a good to very good season, even if he wasn't a rookie. And if you just look at rookies, he's basically having like a top 5 rookie receiver season of the past decade. So he's a guy that's really, I'm able to build a better case after a couple weeks from when I did this in the midseason. But I like Egbuka a lot, but I think McMillan has just been excellent and a true X receiver, which is fun to watch.
Yeah, and he's coming off a great game in overtime against the Falcons, 8 catches, 130 yards, 2 TDs. Yeah, I was shocked when you put him up, and then I started researching and I was like, oh, Nate's right again. So top 4 quarterbacks, Nate, in the AFC. I think we're pretty close on this one too. We have one different, it looks like. So go ahead and fire away on your top 4 quarterbacks in the AFC, Nate.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes is still the guy to me. I get sometimes stats dip, but actually, again, another guy where underlying stats are still strong, still a top 5 season, top 6 season. Any way you shake it. I think that Chiefs offense and the Chiefs overall, who are 5-5, have a 55% chance to make the playoffs, according to New York Times' simulations and stuff. I still feel really good about where they're at. And I know they play the Colts this week. It's a must win, but actually just the offense is better than people realize. They just think of the missed deep throws that are happening. The offensive line is good. And I think Mahomes is playing some of the best football of his career. It's just that he's working with, a couple of 160-pound receivers that can't get open at times. Yeah. Too little. That's why Rashee Rice is their guy. Yeah. And I do think the deep ball stuff's overblown because Tyquan Thornton's been good for them in that regard. But just statistically, he's the guy to me. He's the belt holder. Until someone really totally usurps him, it's hard for me to go away from that. The guy that usually is the number 2 for me is Josh Allen, which I know he had a rough game as we're recording this on Thursday night. But man, it's just, he's phenomenal, and the intelligence he's played with now the last couple of years, he's really good pre-snap now. Just Josh Allen, it's pretty easy. I don't think I have to argue too much for him. But number 3 is Drake May, who was my number 1 quarterback in last year's class, right. And now is kind of, you see it now, and it's not any underlying stats are amazing. I believe he is first in EPA per dropback. He is first for sure in success rate, which is extremely encouraging to me because he's such a big game hunter. As a quarterback, he likes to chuck it. He likes to hunt for explosives. So the fact that his completion rate, his success rate are so high, that is just incredible on top of being a really good athlete. If I had more cojones, I would have him higher than this. But I have to give respect to the dudes that I think are the number 1, number 2 guys overall in the NFL, Mahomes and Allen. And the 4th is Justin Herbert. And this is just, he's given it all he's got, Captain. Like it's the whole offensive line's in shambles.
Oh yeah,
when he is upright, he's
gone. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's awful. The amount. So I can look at a stat called knockdowns, which is hits and sacks combined. You like it? It's not hurries, it's hits and sacks. So when the quarterback is knocked down, and those Chargers this year on a per snap basis or a per dropback basis, it's the 2nd highest rate over the last 5 years, or 6 years since 2019. So he's getting decimated back there. And I just got to respect what he has done, because when he's able to stay upright, he's playing like truly like an MVP level. It just doesn't look that way all the time. So it's because it's just so rough with the whole line.
Yeah, I have one, only like the other category. I only have one different. I had Daniel Jones and I didn't have Justin Herbert. Running the number 1 offense. A little bit concerned about his turnovers going up over the last couple of games. So, as you alluded to, big matchup in Kansas City this week. Love Drake May. My only scary thing about Drake May is taking a lot of sacks. And that's the only thing that scares me. So let's move on to AFC Rookie of the Year. We're both in agreement on this one. Of course, you know me. I'm going to go for a tight end if I can. Tyler Warren of the Colts. He's got 50 catches. You loved them. You loved them coming out. Give me a little bit about Ty Warren.
Yeah, also had Tyler Warren. I actually, at the end when I studied him, I had Colson Loveland, the guy the Bears drafted, as my tight end 1, and then it was like a 1A, 1B. Warren is the ultimate type of receiving tight end in a modern NFL. Blocking he's iffy on, but he is just, but honestly, it's how they use him is really cool too. How Shane Steichen uses him. It's a true adjuster. He can be a receiver as far as a slot player. He can be the 2nd tight end. He can be the inline tight end. He can be the fullback. He can be the wildcat quarterback. They use him in all those ways. And it's not just a gimmick. It's like, he's going to use that way to create good plays, whether it's as a fullback, as a blocker, as a fullback, as a route runner. It's in the slot catching bubbles and screens. It's running downfield routes. All around receiving tight end, just high end productions there. Eye test is there. Just a very good player. Pretty easy too. The Rookie of the Year class is weird this year. And there's no real quarterback that stood out. I think Cam Ward has actually been a lot better than the stats look like. I think he's a keeper for sure, but it's hard to name him Rookie of the Year just off of what he can be in 2 years. It's about what you did your rookie year. So, Warren is pretty definitively the AFC, I think, Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year.
I agree with you. Thanks to my son Nate for taking time to hang out with us during our Thanksgiving show. We'll be right back with Odds and Ends.
All right, time for Odds and Ends. So, Coach, you brought up a Thanksgiving rookie prank that you sent me and producer James. It's from back in the day in '89. Yeah. Packers players getting pranked, going to the supermarket and having to pick up some turkeys. Even the PR guy was in on the whole thing. Did you ever participate in like a rookie prank as a vet where you were pranking rookies, or maybe you got pranked as a rook?
Let's start with getting pranked as a rook.
Okay.
So I'm with the Seahawks, and we got this flyer in our locker, and it was the entire team got free turkeys from the local supermarket. And I had my live-in girlfriend, Diane, my wife, and I said, I'm going to get us a turkey. You're going to cook your first Thanksgiving turkey. So I went in there, and I'm looking around, and I go to the manager, hey, I'm here to get this turkey. And the guy said, I'll be right back. And he went in the back, and he came back up, and he looked at me, and he said, look into that window. I said, why? He said, because the only turkeys we have here are you.
Ooh,
and in come a couple other guys, and I didn't say anything to him, because I didn't want to be the only one that got pranked. So, of course, you move on to be a veteran, and you use that same prank against the rookies. But
wow.
Yeah, it's been in the league for years and years and years. And we had that little clip of the Packers I sent to you, and then the producer says, turn around and look at the camera.
It's all good fun.
It's all good fun. It's all good
You
fun.
got to love it. Well, have a safe trip. Enjoy Thanksgiving with the family. We
Yeah.
want to give the best to Diane and everybody. And a happy Thanksgiving to all of you at home. We wish you the best, and hope you have a great time with your family. For editor Jess, producer James, Daphne, Ryan, our whole production team, I'm Mike Davis. We wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving.